TASW, Texas All-Star Wrestling. A legendary, historic name in the annals of wrestling history. Company that's going on its 20th some odd year. Humble Rumble 20 is around the corner. At the time, I was creating some buzz. I was the EWF, I was working names, I was on shows with names, I was trying to get noticed. I'd gotten to face some really good talent. Hot Stuff Hernandez at NWA Southwest, and Mike Fox at EWF, and Paul London at ETW. And around that time, I had also had a history of having really good tag team partners, or being blessed with being able to team up with some good guys like Devastator, Alex Heat, Paul Powers, Mike Thunder, Fast Eddie, Lance Cade, Paul London, and around that time I was also teaming up with a guy in Austin at CTPW. We had a lot in common. We got along really well. I had a blast being a teammate of his because it was just a fun time in Austin at that point. And myself and Dave Venge, we formed the tag team known as Sexy Vengeance. And for a bit there, we were trying to do whatever we could. We were facing guys, and guys were being brought in for us to face, and we were tag team champions, and we're trying to be like the Impact Players meets Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck meets the Rockers meets Sabu and RVD. Just two individuals that got along. I had a blast being his partner. It was a really fun time there. And around that time, I got the call to come to TASW. And that was a big deal. That was a big deal. I was familiar with it. I'd seen footage of it. It was blew me away. It was like ECW. It was hardcore through and through. You had like Mr. Mayhem and Brother Icarus, and you had Mean Mike Tatum, and you had Lord Humongous. Necro Butcher. Necro Butcher. That's where you got it. That's where I first saw Necro Butcher. That's where I first saw Hot Stuff Hernandez. I recall a match. I'd see a lot of brutality in the footage, but one thing that stood out to me was it was Necro Butcher versus Hot Stuff Hernandez at this bingo hall. These rabid fans, and you see Hot Stuff pick Necro up for a hot bomb, and they're on the apron. I'm like, what are they going to do? Then I see a table like off in the distance from the apron, and I'm like, what? Nah, man, on the floor probably. Nah, inside. Oh, that dude, Hot Stuff, ran, jumped off the apron, and chunked Necro Butcher. Necro Butcher aimed for the table, and unfortunately, he hit the table. That's good news. Bad news is it was only the back of his head. Man. So when I got the call, I was like, man, I'm really in for it. Okay, this is like ECW. They are hardcore. Guys getting thrown through tables on the back of their head. The fans are rabid. It's my kind of place. I am looking forward to this. I really wanted to show out. Then I found out I was going to be the main event. I was going to be in the main event. I was like, man, that is awesome. To main event, Humble Bingo Hall, your debut. It wasn't like I had been accustomed to making debuts and being, at least early in my career, being like the second match, or being the first match, or being like right before intermission, or being right after intermission, and sometimes being semi-main. But to be the main of the show, it's cool, man. man, I mean, just as great as being at NWA Southwest and getting the main event there against Hot Stuff Hernandez. But I was also going after gold, which was awesome. I mean, what a debut. But it was going to be tag team gold. And on one side, you were going to have Seth Shai, one half the tag team champions, a guy who had quite the reputation. Was getting a lot of press, was winning titles everywhere he went. He was on PWI, so, and I had never faced this guy. I faced him once since, and man, I gotta say, he's on my list of guys I'd like to face again. He's one hell of a talent, and again, he was getting a lot of press, and he was one half the tag team champions. On the other, his partner, the other half of the tag team champions, was Bobby2Badd, a guy I had history with, and I will continue to have history with, and I've battled this guy many a times, and this was his house at the time. The guy was not only one half of the tag team champions, he was also the guy who held this Texas All-Star Wrestling heavyweight title. He held it. So he was a big deal, and he held it at the same time we're main eventing in his house. He's immensely over, and you got Seth Shai as his partner, and then on the other hand, on the other side, there was me, who was going to show out. I mean, I was training religiously at this point. I was doing everything it took to put on size and put on muscle because I wanted to get to the next level, and what is it going to take? At the same time, I wanted to appear like I belonged in that ring, and I looked the part, I acted the part. I always tried to change up my look, always wanted to look fresh. Unfortunately, I didn't have a gear maker, so, it was being creative with whatever I could get my hands on. I found a place that sold singlets, so got, in essence, an Adidas singlet. Had no problem with it. Got some fabric paint, painted it up. Got a few, like, wrestling singlets, just like collegiate style, I guess. And at the time, they worked. I was a big fan of Rob Van Dam, so I didn't see it as that big of a deal. Really enjoyed it. Had some kick pads. Just needed the boots that went with it. But yeah, so working out religiously, and my partner was going to be Psycho Simpson. Now, me and Psycho feuded places. We never got along. We always, we made debuts against one another. I have immense respect for Psycho Simpson as a competitor. He's one of the most entertaining and one of the most talented guys I've ever had the luxury and the honor of being in the ring with. And it's a true honor to get to be in the ring with him at any point. I mean, he's just one of those guys, man. If you look up professional wrestler, it is Psycho Simpson. Don't let the character fall. I mean, it's every aspect of it. Like, I was always a big fan of it. And I felt like, okay, we could be a good tag team. I mean, it's different. You got a crazy guy and a playboy, and Steve DeMarco, and I mean, what, we'd be sexual psychos? I don't know, man. That, maybe if you give us girl and, okay. It could, I don't know, the word connotation, psychotically sexy. I mean, that could work. I mean, I could go a little crazy here and there. I mean, we could be tag team champions. But I found that I really wanted to, the one thing about teaming up with Psycho is it gets distracted, and, I wanted to show out. My competitive juices started to flow, and adrenaline started to flow, and I really wanted to be the champ. And then we had miscommunication, and I decided, well, I've had enough of the games, and he wasn't doing his part, so I blasted Psycho Simpson. I mean, it didn't matter because we were going to fight elsewhere. I mean, I'm a guy who's tagged with Chaz Taylor. I've tagged with Lance Cade. I've had some good tag partners since. But yeah, at that moment, I lost my cool and blasted him and kind of walked out. And then I hear the fans and they're saying I suck, and what? Me? So I let them have it. Now, mind you, I'm thinking that this is ECW. I'm thinking that this is, they're so violent that you can curse. I mean, why couldn't you? That was my thinking. And I wanted them to stand up and take notice. I wanted everyone to know that I had arrived, that I wasn't Hot Stuff Hernandez. I wasn't Bobby2Badd. I wasn't Seth Shai. I wasn't Mr. Mayhem. I wasn't Lord Humongous. I wasn't Mean Mike Tatum. I wasn't any of those guys. It was Sexy Steve DeMarco. And I was going to run roughshod over that show. Just give me a chance. Give me a live mic and see what happens. And they did. And I let the people have it. So I wanted to get under their skin. I wanted them to know that I was there. I was not going anywhere. But in hindsight, I could have probably worded it differently. I mean, promos are an interesting thing, because there's an art form to them if you do them right. I always felt I think at that point I looked at like a Shane Douglas. You look at Dean Douglas and you look at Shane Douglas. I remember Shane Douglas would cut these really foul-written promos at ECW. And I thought that was the way. I thought, at a place like TASW, that was the way. So I know when I said what I said, I was going off adrenaline. I was trying to get under people's skin, and I felt like that language needed to be there. But again, in hindsight, I probably could have worded it differently. But it got the point across. Got a reaction. It put me in line, and certain things had to happen. But the next time I would be there, I would be facing someone I had faced before, but he was making his homecoming, his return. It was going to be a big deal. But that's a couple of shows down the road. That's not now. Now you get to see Psycho Simpson and Steve DeMarco, Sexy Steve DeMarco. We're going to take on these tag team champions, Seth Shai and Bobby2Badd, and we're going to tear the house down. So sit back and relax. But before you sit back and relax, if you're catching this, I will be at ROW today. Later on, when you're seeing this, around 7. Queen Charmel will be in attendance, the GM of ROW. She's got a big announcement. Quite the show. If you've seen it on YouTube, I'm sure you have. If you've seen my show, I'm sure you've seen their show. Keep watching. And I'm on episode 19. Gustavo Mendoza and myself. I will not be facing Gustavo. I will be facing someone that I rarely have ever faced. But anyway, that's tomorrow or later on today. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And as I always like to end these, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Now sit back, relax, and if you do that and you enjoy the show, well, then you already are all of that. Until the next time, later. Championship. That guy's weird. That guy's so weird. We got Steve DeMarco and Psycho Simpson. With the opponents.
Bring it. I bought it.
I tried to find what I thought was a good partner. I mean, he's crazy enough.
He's a freak manager!
I don't know. I don't know about this punk-ass bitch right here.
Come on.
Those punk-ass bitches right there got away. They didn't pin me. They pinned him.
He's a freak manager!
I'm talking to your punk-ass. I'll find a partner. And I'm gonna roll both your asses.
Hey, come on, guys! Come on! Now you hurry! Come on! Come on! Chance, man! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on, Bobby! It's your chance! Come on, one chance, Bobby! Good chance. Good chance. Come on, Bobby. You've dealt with it.
And as far as these bands go, you can all kiss my ass. Because you were stupid enough to freaking cheer for a brain dead redneck.
Come on.
You got a lot of people out here. You got a lot of attitude.